Hey everybody, welcome back.
Hi.
Today we're going to change it up a little bit for you. Instead of always splitting wood, cutting wood, maintaining saws, that kind of stuff. I told you in my very first video we're an outdoor channel. We're not a wood cutting channel, but that does go along with it. So I'm going to flip you around here and show you what we got going on. We got my dad's Simplicity Courier 42-inch 21.5 horse Kawasaki zero-turn lawnmower. It's a FR 651V, 21 horsepower. It's just your plain old residential, nothing special about it. We did upgrade the seat. My dad calls it the air conditioning seat that actually came with it. It's a cloth mesh seat, and he didn't care for that a whole lot. So we're going to be sharpening the blades, changing the oil. This thing has 64.7 hours on it. So we are not going to be changing the fuel filter or the spark plugs. It doesn't have enough hours for any of that. So the tools that I will be using on this today, actually, see that hose right there? That's actually how you drain the oil. It's probably one of the smartest things Simplicity's ever done. But the tools we'll be using today are a filter wrench of some sort, your choice. My most important tool of all, my coffee, a couple of rags, choice of wrenches. I got a crescent wrench, a 5/8 socket, a grease gun, a funnel. In our area, the manual actually calls for 1040 oil, so we got 2 quarts of that. We got a 1/2-inch impact for removing the blades, our oil filter, and the scraper to clean the deck. So I'm going to hand you off to the wife, and she's going to show us how to service this lawnmower. Alright, I just got done showing you this hose. You got your plug, and then you got your hose fitting. Just so you guys know, I have had this running, so the oil's all nice and warmed up. Grab your rag. And you guys want to keep this as clean as all possible. So your rags are going to be your best friend. Take your dipstick out for a little more airflow. You know how they always say wait and watch the paint dry? It's kind of what you're doing when you're draining the oil. Alright, while we're waiting on that to drain, we're going to actually remove that oil filter. What I have found the easiest, they make these filter cups. It fits on a 3/8 ratchet, and all you do is put it on here. And I'll tell you what, guys, these cups are absolutely wonderful for tight areas. Now, if you didn't see it down there, I got a rag to actually catch that extra oil that comes out of there. This part right here is virtually impossible to keep clean, but just do your best. Alright, now that we got that going, we're waiting on the oil to drain. Your Briggs and Stratton filters, my dad's actually had these for several years. He was a professional small engine mechanic in the military as a mechanic. Take some of your old oil, lube up your O-ring, and go ahead, wipe off your fingers. Now don't be stingy about the oil that you put on your gasket. You want to lube up that gasket really well. Now when you put these on here, just do them hand tight. That's it. And remove your rag. Grab your clean rag, clean up your work surface a little bit. And finish waiting for that to drain so you can install the new oil. Alright, we've gotten all the oil out of here. I mean, it's dripping. We could wait a little bit more, but go ahead and put your plug back in and tighten it up.
Your fingers are so yellow from fertilizing this morning.
Sweet. That's tight. Yeah, my dad called me up this morning. He said, you know, in between raindrops would be a really good time to fertilize this yard. I said, what are you trying to do? Mow it 4 times a week? Well, he just bought this house right after we bought this property, and he's still working at trying to get the yard nice and green and thick. And as I said, always keep your surface clean. So let's go ahead. We got the new filter on here. The hose is put back. The plug is tight. So let's go ahead and add some oil. Make sure it's clean. All right, funnel's clean. Funnel's inserted. If you guys remember me saying this takes just under 2 quarts. So we're going to put in about 1.5 quarts and start checking it. All right, we got the 2nd quart here. As I said, we'll add about half of it. Let the oil settle for a couple minutes and then check it. And this part of the service will be complete. All right, we got the oil all inserted. Go ahead and check it. And we're right on the full mark. So I was actually wrong. This, and don't take that to heart, guys. It doesn't happen very often. Yeah, just ask my wife. She'll tell you every time. So it actually takes 2 quarts.
Track. It's just more than once.
She doesn't keep track. Tell me, guys, down in the comments, how often does your wife tell you that you're wrong?
I always acknowledge when you're right, but I also always tell you when you're wrong.
All right. Engine is full of oil. The hose is put back. The oil filter is installed. All we need to do now is go ahead and run it, cycle that oil through the motor, fill up the oil filter, and we'll be good. Now, what we're actually going to do is remove the oil filter, or the air filter, which is right under this cap, and blow that up. And Simplicity, surprisingly, has actually done this right. You don't need a flat head or anything like that. They just put this little head on here, and all you gotta do is loosen it up. It's nice and loose. Now, if you want to do something different, make it a little easier, just grab a flathead, loosen this hose clamp, take it off the carburetor, and then you're free. Just loosen that up, and it pops right off. Alright, let's go and blow this puppy up. Alright, do a little bit different than how I took it off. We'll go ahead and tighten this one up first. Make sure that clamps in your grooves. And then we'll go ahead, what you should do, and I will find an easier way to do it, but put a rag down here in your air inlet to the carburetor and blow out this little compartment where the air filter goes. Alright, now that this area is clean, we will reinstall the air filter. Alright, and that's done. That's 2 marked off the list. Alright, now what we got going on is we are actually going to clean the deck, sharpen the blades. So to do that, with me being a bigger guy, yes, you can use a floor jack, but we're actually going to use a fork with the forks on the front. To do this, you actually release the hydros so you don't have all that tension on your hydros. On these, there's a release right back here with the little catch. Just pull that back, hook up in there. And on these mowers, you actually have one on each side, but you also have your parking brakes in your handles. So go ahead and pull your handles in. And when you're raising the mower, your wheels will actually give just like they would on a floor jack. So let's go ahead and pick it up. I'm actually using. These straps are rated for like 1,000 pounds each, and I just have them hooked on the front axle. So we'll easy access to under the deck and take off the blades. So let me find a rubber strap. All we're going to do with this is just hold up the side shield, and that's it. All right. Knock off your excess grass. Grab your scraper that you've already grabbed. When you have this much grass kicked up, you know your blades are doing a good job when you have high lift blades like this mower does. And what I mean by high lift blades is, see this back lip, how it comes up so high? Those are your high lift blades. On this, all you're doing is knocking off your bigger chunks of grass. Alright. Alright, you see this clumpy grass under here? Just take your scraper or whatever you guys got and just clean this up as good as you possibly can. All this grass under here, and by all rights you should be wearing safety glasses to keep all the dust out of your eyes. The cleaner you guys can keep this deck, the nicer the yard will look, because of airflow and everything else. On this mower, it's got sealed bearings on the spindles, so your spindles are actually not greasable. Sorry guys, having a hard time seeing with that sun daylight or that glare. Alright, you notice yourself, you have the mower propped up in there. I'm not doing it because I'm not under here very long. I should do it just for the sake of it. Put a jack stand or something under it, so just in case a strap or something was to break, lawnmower is not going to fall on you. But go ahead and take your blades off. On this Simplicity, it's a 5/8 socket. Not to mention, that'll make it a lot easier to clean the deck. Alright, set that off to the side. To that side, go ahead and finish cleaning your deck. And as I say guys, I say I'm not going to be under here very long, so I'm not putting a jack stand under it. That's when all your accidents happen. It's kind of like telling your kids, do as I say, not as I do. Yeah, this is one of those. Alright, when you're doing stuff like this, make sure you wear your gloves. But you got chunks of grass on here. Go ahead and take a wire brush. A lot of people put the wheels in the drills. I got a bench grinder with a wire brush on it. So let's go ahead and clean this up real quick. By cleaning this blade off, you're actually going to be able to balance the blade. A lot of people do that differently. I've actually got a balancer I mount on my wall. Some people put a nail in the board and balance the blade that way. What you're doing by doing it like that, you're actually extending the life of, number one, your blade, but you're also saving your bearings in your spindle, because if you don't get your blade nice and balanced, it will actually wobble around and cause that bearing to go out prematurely. As I told you guys, I've actually got a bench grinder just for sharpening blades. It's a RBG 1201-B by Wall Enterprises. So what we'll do is, when I do this, I put the blade in here so the blade turns to the right, and it actually helps suck in the blade to just sharpen it a little bit faster and save the longevity of your wheel. So let's go ahead and flip it on and sharpen these. Alright, our angle is pretty much dead on, and with these being brand new blades, and I sharpened them right before I put them on, that angle is actually still on that blade, so it's actually sharpening a lot quicker than what I thought it would. So we'll run a couple more passes on this end, then we'll go to the other end and balance it. Sorry guys, Melissa's a little scared of the grinder, which I can't blame her. I was when I was little too. I mean,
little.
when I first started using one of these, I was scared. I'll tell you what, I was just a wee little kid when I started using this grinder, and I'm 38 now. It tells you how long this thing's been around. Alright, that end's done. Now remember, this end is extremely hot. That's another reason why you're wearing gloves. That end is extremely hot. Alright, we'll shut that off. That end actually looks pretty good. Let's go up to the balancer and check it for balance. Alright. It's on this part right here is a magnet. You just put it up here, get your cord for your light out of your way. Go ahead and suck that all the way in. And it looks like this end is just a wee little bit heavy. So let's go ahead and run one pass along this edge and check it again. Alright, that's pretty much dead nuts. We could run one more swipe, but we're just going to let it be. One more thing, when you sharpen it like that, you get little burrs along here. So you'll take a little hand file and file off. Now, as I told you before, guys, there is multiple ways to sharpen your blades. This is just how my dad's taught me ever since I was a little kid, and that's pretty much what I've been stuck with. So now that this blade's done, I'm not going to bore you with the other one. I'll go ahead and sharpen that real quick, and we'll be right back with you. All right. Finally got the blade sharpened, so now it's time to reinstall. If you guys look on the bottom side of your spindles, there's actually the spindle itself that holds the blade on. There's a hole in the blade that actually goes over that, and you just tighten it up then. On a lot of your simplicities, like your landlord DLXs and broad mowers and stuff like that, there's actually a hex shape to keep your bolt from actually loosening up and falling out and keeping the blade from falling off. But these mowers actually have your spring washers on them, and that's what actually keeps everything tight. You guys do not want to over torque these, so I've got my impact set on the lowest setting, and I just bump it a couple of times and that's it. Go to the other side, do the same thing. All I do is tighten it up with my fingers, then I know the blade's over that collar, bolts tight, and just zap it a couple of times and that's it. Done. Now, what I don't like about these mowers is they are extremely chintzy. What I mean by that is there's a lot of sealed bearings, and actually on this mower the only place that you have to grease is your front casters. See that grease arc right there? So grab a rag, clean that grease arc real quick. And this is kind of hard to do two-handed. So what I've done is I've gone out and gotten your lock and lube grease fitting or nipple. You put it on there and you're done. And I put 5 squirts in each side. Let's go ahead and do the other side. Alright guys, and the only other thing you should have to do on a mower to get the spring service completed is check your air pressure tires, front and rear. Check your owner's manual for specifications, spark plugs, and fuel filters. My dad's been in the business so long, he's been turning wrenches pretty much ever since he was able to walk. Him checking air pressure is putting his foot up there and pushing on the tires. Now this is when it's on the ground. And he can pretty much tell you by doing what I just did what that air pressure is. My dad is that good. So the blades are sharp, oil is changed. This thing has a few enough hours. We don't need to worry about the fuel filters or the spark plugs. Front caster wheels are greased and we're done. So I've actually got it's not a funny story, but to tell you my experience and how long this tractor has actually been in my family. You guys have seen my Landlord 101. This thing has a 42-inch deck with it, and my dad actually used to own a trencher shop with multiple cousins here in New Haven. Somebody traded this tractor in, and I actually just got this story a couple weeks ago. Just traded this tractor in for a trencher, a Case, I believe it was, trencher. And my dad actually sold this tractor to my uncle, I don't even remember what year. And my uncle had this tractor for the longest time. As I said, 42-inch deck, we got snow blade with it, all of that. Well, when my uncle, his name's Uncle Bill, when my Uncle Bill sold that house on the east side of New Haven, he let this tractor go with the house. My dad serviced this tractor after the sale, everything. Well, this tractor was actually at my dad's house, and I'm the one who did the service on it, regrettably. And after I tell you the story why, you'll understand. It's like I was telling you, on the bottom of those spindles, on those older tractors, there's a hex shaped. And that's where the head of the washer goes on, and it keeps it from spinning and loosening up. Well, my dad has drilled and drilled and drilled me to make sure that's on there properly, and to take a ratchet or a breaker bar or a torque wrench to make sure that those bolts are perfectly tight. Well, guess what? I thought I did the job right, and a couple weeks after we sent the mower back to the customer, my dad got a phone call that she was out in the middle of the yard mowing, and one of the blades just shot across the yard because I didn't torque it right. So it's a good thing that there was nobody out there, nobody got hurt. My dad actually ended up doing the service for free and a couple other things, but I was a wee little kid And I'm talking 15, maybe 10 years old, somewhere in there. I don't remember. But I've been working on these mowers for a extremely long time, helping my dad do services and all that. So when I tell you, sorry, not tell you, explain to you to put your bolts through your blades and spindles correctly, double, triple, quadruple check that they're on there properly. That's a extremely, extremely dangerous part of a service on a mower. So, lesson learned. Never had that issue again. So anyways, we're going to let this down and take it back to the customer, which is my father, as soon as it gets done raining, and we're going to enjoy the rest of our Sunday. So you guys probably won't see this till middle of the week, somewhere in there. So as I always say, guys, be safe, be kind, help somebody out this week, and we'll see you at the next one. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, please click like, subscribe, and share them with your friends. Thanks.